Hello friends, welcome to the solution video of the first Basic Math Olympiad held by QuizXY Private Limited on August 30. You can see this is our website www.quizxy.info. I have put it down in the description as well. Do visit our website and follow us on Instagram for more such quizzes and Olympiads. You can also subscribe to our channel to receive updates about the upcoming quizzes. So before moving on to the solutions, some general introduction about this Basic Math Olympiad. In this Basic Math Olympiad, there were 30 questions which were to be completed in 20 minutes. It was quite tough, but then it was tough for all, so I think it was a fair competition. I'll be moving through the solutions quickly to get the feel of the Olympiad. Also, in my video, the order of the questions may be different from yours because the questions were shuffled. So here comes the first question. Find three numbers such that the multiplication of those three numbers is equal to the summation of those numbers. Okay, so let's start. Let's assume those three numbers as x, y, z. Okay, from the question, the equation naturally arrives this equation x plus y plus z, x equal to x, y, z. So we are just rearranging this equation such that z is a dependent variable. Okay, so the rearranged equation looks like this. Okay, now I am going into important part of the question. Here it's written that find three numbers. It's not mentioned whether the numbers are distinct or are they integers. Nothing is mentioned about the numbers. So the numbers can be real numbers. So I think most of you might have got the answer by now. The trick was that the numbers are real numbers. So you can put any xy value here and you can get the z output. So any xy value whose product is not equal to 1, obviously. If the product is equal to 1, then the z will tend to infinity, which will not be a number anymore. And so any xy value will give a z, so it will form a triad. One such triad is 1, 2, 3, but I can give you another example also. 1, 1.5 and 5 also is a triad. So you can get multiple such triads. Just the thing is you need to choose some xy such that the product is not 1. Okay, so the correct answer here is infinite number of solutions. Let's move on to question number 2. Okay, so here comes the second question. If 3 birds make 3 nests in 3 days, then how many days it takes for 15 birds to build 10 nests? Okay, so let's move on to the solution. Okay, so here I've tried to represent it pictorially. 3 birds, 3 nests, 3 days. Okay, so 1 bird, 1 nest, how many days? Okay, so here the important concept is the number of days is directly proportional to the number of nests, because the more the number of nests, the more time it will take for the birds to build those nests. And also one more thing, the number of days is inversely proportional to the number of birds. The more the number of birds, the less time it will take to build those nests. Okay, so two things. Days are directly proportional to nests and days are inversely proportional to birds. Okay, so here 1 bird and 1 nest, how many days it will take? We are just trying to follow a simplified approach. We are not going to directly take that 15, 10 thing. So here you can see you can see that nest into days by bird. I have equated the initial nest into days by initial bird equal to final nest into final days of final, like you do in physics. So it is pretty much same. So just I brought down the those nest and birds to the left hand side. You can see that it will be equal to 3 days. Other way to look at it is like so 3 birds and 3 nests, it take 3 days. So 1 bird and 1 nest, how many days it will take? Just multiply with that the inverse of this equation. Okay, so in the 3 birds, 3 nests, in the 3 birds is in the numerator, we take the bird is the bird in the denominator here. So it will be 1 bird, and 3 nests in the denominator, so you take the nest in the numerator. So it will be 1 nest. Here the case is 1 bird, 1 nest. You have taken 1 bird, 1 nest. and the number of days earlier was 3 days. We are taking 3 days, so we are getting 3 days. Okay, so the here answer is also 3 days. Okay, so now we are moving directly to the 15 birds and 10 nest case. Okay, so there are 15 birds, okay, and 10 nests. So how many days it will take? Earlier we found that one bird one nest is 3 days. So similar logic here, we multiply the inverse of this. So if the denominator is nest here, so you have to keep the nest here in numerator, because the units will get cancelled, sort of that thing. It's obviously absurd to talk about units of nest, but still just a similarity analogy you can think of. Okay, so the 10 nests, there are total 10 nests, and there are total 15 birds. So I have just multiplied with 10 by 15 here, and you get the earlier there were 3 days for one bird and one nest, so the answer is 2 days. Okay, so let's move on to the next question, the third question. Okay, so this is the third question. So you can see this is a series 2, 3, 5, 7, 10. This is a little tricky series. So you can see, you might have seen that it was a starred question in that basic math Olympiad. So we are going to go through this series. Okay, so just follow those steps I am doing. Okay, so this is a series 1. It's a series of natural numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, and this is a series 2. It's a Fibonacci series 1, 1, 2, 3, 5, 8. If you don't know what is Fibonacci series, I will recommend you go to the internet and check what is Fibonacci series. Basically, the number is the sum of the previous two numbers. Like here, 1 plus 1 is 2, 2 plus 3 is 5, 1 plus 2 is 3, 3 plus 5 is 8, like that. This is a Fibonacci series. Okay, so these are two series, and what we do is we add these two series. Okay, and what we get? Series 1 plus series 2, it becomes 2, 3, 5, 7, 10, 14. You can just check the question now. It's exactly matching this thing 2, 3, 5, 7, 10, and obviously the next number will be 14. These are two very easy series, but it's very difficult to recognize when both are added together. Okay, so the correct answer will be 14. So let's move on to the next question, question number 4. Moving on to question number 4. This is the fourth question. Select the next animal in series: snake, cock, cow, ant. What is the next animal? Okay, so this is very simple series. You can just see the number of the legs. Actually, you can just check the number of legs that is used for locomotion, or you can say movement. So a snake uses no legs for movement. Cock or hen, you can say, it uses 2 legs. Cow 4 legs, ant 6 legs, and crab 8 legs. Crab has 10 legs, but it uses 8 legs for locomotion. The other 2 legs are not for locomotion. Okay, so I have written here legs used for walking or locomotion. So the correct answer will be crab. Move on to next question. Okay, so question number 5. A is smallest positive integer which when multiplied by 3 gives a number made of 5s only. Okay, what is value of CQ? Okay, it is now our task is to find this A. What is this A? Okay, so this question indirectly kind of asks us to first find the number which is made of 5 and is divisible by 3, and which the quotient is a positive integer. So we have to first find that number which is made of 5, then only you can proceed on to A. So okay, so let's find that number. Obviously it will be 555, and here it is written that A is a smallest positive integer, so the number will be also an integer, because if it is not an integer, it is a decimal number and it is divisible, it is being divided by 3, it will never, the number A will never be an integer then. So that number, it has to be an integer also in order to make the A as integer, make the number A as integer. So the smallest number obviously will be 555, because 1 5 or 2 5, it is never divisible by 3, and triple 5 is always divisible by 3. One interesting tip here is like whenever you find there is a repetition of number 3n times, like here it is 3 times, there can be 6 times or 9 times. A repetition number is repeated 5 3 times, or 4 3 times, or 4 6 times. Number is repeated 3n times, then obviously it will be divisible by 3. The proof is very simple, just add the number and you can see that it is divisible by 3. Okay, and so we find A is 185 obviously, and B is the sum of digits of A, so 14, and C is sum of digits of B, so 5, and C cube is it's told us to find the value of C cube, so it's 125. Okay, so moving on to the next question. Question number 6. AB and CD are 2-digit natural numbers. This equation is given 4b plus a equal to 13m and 5d minus c equal to 17n, where m and n are natural numbers. Okay, just note that m and n are natural numbers here, and also AB and CD are 2-digit natural numbers. It's very important thing to note here. Okay, so we start solving. We take this equation 4b plus a equal to 13m and then rearrange this equation. Write a in terms of m and b, and similarly we write the other equation c in terms of n and d. Okay, and now AB is nothing but 10a plus b. It's very basic thing, like you are multiplying the tens place digit with 10 and you are multiplying the unit place digit with 1 to make the number. So it becomes 130m minus 39b, and also similarly CD becomes 51d minus 170n. Okay, and AB into CD, it's nothing like you can see here that the 13 is common from the first term and 17 is common from the second term, so you get 221 into 10m minus 3b into 3d minus 10n. Just note here in this question it is written that you have to find the largest number that always divide. So the largest number that is always dividing this ABCD is nothing but 221, because these two terms it will be fluctuating, like it can take random values depending on B, M and D values. So the largest number here will be nothing but this one. You cannot take the contribution of these two terms into the largest number. That will like not necessarily divide the number always. Okay, so the answer is 221. So moving on to the next question. Question number 7. You have to compute this integral. Note that the dx is in the power of x. So this question I came upon some time ago in some site. Okay, so this is also a little tricky question. Okay, so let's start solution. So you see that there is no dx term multiplied with this expression. So the natural thought will be to multiply and divide it by dx. Either you do that or you can take the logarithm. So obviously the first thought is very easy we have to follow that thought. X to the power dx minus 1, and we multiply divide by dx. Okay, so now just look at this term. This is nothing but the first derivative of the derivative function. The derivative is defined at the limit x tends to 0, a raised to x minus 1 by x, that kind of thing. So the function here is a raised to x, and at x tends to 0 the derivative is ln a by this definition, by this limit definition. Just note that at dx tends to 0, so here also you can apply. Similarly you can write that since dx tends to 0, you can say that this is same ln x. Just replace a by x and we can get ln x. Okay, so just see that the dx, since it is infinitesimal, we can consider it as independent of x. I have also checked it on by plotting the graph on Python, and also it was coming out to be ln x. Okay, so now we know that this is ln x. Now you can simply find this ln x dx. Instead of x raised to dx minus 1, you just write ln x dx, and just you can find x ln x minus x plus c. Okay, so the answer is C. So this is the next question. Question number 8. This is a very simple question of binomial expansion. You can it has told us to find the value x and y. X and y are reminder when 34 is dividing this number and this number respectively. Okay, so let's start. We can just write 33 as 34 minus 1 because we need it to get divided, like we need to find the remainder when it is divided by 34. So we have to write it as 34 minus 1. Okay, so 34 minus 1 is to some number. This is a even number. Why is it even? Because 34 is a even number. When it is multiplied 35 times, it will be even. Okay, and here also the second part, it is 35 raised to 34. It is an odd number. Why is it odd? Because all the numbers here are odd. You are multiplying 35 34 times. So 35 is an odd number. When it is multiplied any number of time, the odd numbers when multiplied any number of time, it will always be odd. If all the numbers in a product are odd, then the number is odd. If one of the number in a product is even, then the product is even. Okay, so I just now write as general binomial expansion where k is an integer. So you can just see this binomial expansion. So just look at these terms. The first k minus, there are total k plus 1 terms. Okay, the first k terms, they correspond to some number which has a factor of 34. Why? Because you can see the first term 34 is to k, second term 34 is to k minus 1. There is some factor of 34 there. When the second last term, it will have a factor of 34 there. Only the last term, it doesn't have a factor of 34. So I just generalize that form into 34 into n. N is some number here. So 34, like some integer number here. So it is 34 minus 1 is to k is nothing but 34 into n plus minus 1 is to k. Okay, now when you are putting the k value as even and you are dividing by 34, the remainder will be 1. But when you are putting the k value as odd, the remainder, you can see the remainder here, it is coming as minus 1. But since remainder cannot be negative, it has to be 34 minus 1. You take the previous quotient when you are dividing with 34 and the remainder becomes 33. It becomes 33. Okay, so the x here is for even, so it is 1, and y here is for odd, so it is 33. So 1 minus 33 is minus 32. So C is the correct answer. Let's move on to the next question. Question number 9. If n equal to 7 raised to p plus 4 into 5 raised to q into 2 raised to 3 is a perfect cube, p and q are positive integers, find the smallest possible value of p plus q. Okay, so in order to find the smallest possible value of p plus q, you can go through that logic that we have to find the smallest possible value of p and smallest possible value of q, and we add them up to find the smallest possible value of p plus q. Okay, so one important thing here is, like, for a perfect cube, the powers of all the prime numbers which are there present in that cube, the power should be a multiple of 3. Why is that so? Because which number do you call a perfect cube? The number, when you take the cube root, when you take the cube root of a number and the resultant comes out to be an integer, then do you call that number as a perfect cube? Okay, so cube root means it's kind of power 1 raised to 3 power. Okay, so we are just kind of dividing p plus 4 by 3, q by 3 and 3 by 3. And if p plus 4 is not divisible by 3 or q is not divisible by 3, the power will not be a integer there. It will be a fraction there, and some integer raised to some fraction, it will never give you an integer back. So you need p plus 4 and q to be divisible by 3. Okay, so now it has become very simple. So just go to the nearest multiple of 3, and p is a positive integer. To keep that in mind, q is also a positive integer, so it cannot be 0. If you are thinking of 0, then it is not 0. Okay, and like q is 3 and p is 2, it's very natural now. So p plus q is 5. So moving on to the next question. Question number 10. What is the rightmost non-zero digit of 270 raised to the power of 270 and 130 raised to the power of 130? Okay, so this is very easy question. Okay, so it's a simple thing. you can see that I just divided this 270 into 27 and 10, 27 multiplied by 10, so you can know the number of zeros. 270 raised to 270 raised to power 270 is has 270 zeros at the end, because it is 10 raised to 270 here, and 130 raised to 130 has 130 zeros. Now when now which one will be the rightmost non-zero digit of this number? It will be given by the rightmost non-zero digit of this number, 130 raised to 130, because it has very less number of zeros than the other number. So this other number is just a formality. Even when the zeros of this 130 raised to 130 will be completed, the 270 raised to 270, the zeros of that number, it will still be there in that number. So this the unit digit of 130 raised to 130 will be the actual, the unit digit after the zeros will be the actual solution of this equation. So we find that 130 raised to 130 would partly be the rightmost non-zero digit of that. Okay, so just see the pattern. You can almost notice this pattern on many kind of numbers, many powers. The 13 raised to 0 is 1, 13 raised to 1 is 13, 13 raised to 2 is 169, 13 raised to 3 is something whose last digit is 7, 13 raised to 4 is something whose last digit is 1, and so on, like that. You can just check it by yourself. Okay, so a pattern is formed here, 1397, 1397, like that. So here in this 130, 13 raised to 130, this is something of a form of 4k plus 2 form. 4k is 128, like the nearest 4k, and plus 2 it is 130. So this 1 corresponds to 4k plus 0, this 3 corresponds to 4k plus 1, this 9 corresponds to 4k plus 2, 7 corresponds to 4k plus 3, again 1 corresponds to 4k. K is any integer. Okay, 4k plus 2, the last digit is 9, so by that logic the answer is 9. Moving on to next question. Now coming to question number 11. Suppose a new length measurement system such that L equal to sin x plus x square, where x is in meters, L is in and L in new length measurement system. It is also given an example here. 2 meters is equivalent to sin 2 plus 4 units in our new length measurement. Okay. Now the actual question is, if a person starts running from x equal to 0 with a velocity 9 meter per second, then to find the initial velocity in the new length system. So actually this question is really easy. It's nothing, not at all difficult. It seems very lengthy though. Okay, so the initial velocity in our new length system is nothing but dl by dt. Okay, because L is a measurement of distance and t is time, so dl by dt will give you the velocity in the new length system, new length measurement system. Okay, so you can see I have just found the first derivative, dl by dt on both sides, left side dl by dt, right side cos x plus 2x dx by dt. So initially it is said to find the initial velocity of the new length in the new length system. So initial velocity means at x equal to 0. At x equal to 0, dx by dt is given as 9 meter per second. So dx by dt we know 9, and x equal to 0 if you put, then it becomes again 9. So the answer is 9 units per second. Moving on to the next question. Okay, so question number 12. It is told us to find the value of x minus y, where x is the LCM of 5 by 4 and 15 by 6, and y is the HCF of 5 by 4 and 15 by 6. This question is a very easy question actually. It reminds me of my class 5, class 6 level. So I think you also remember this. So LCM of two fraction is LCM of numerator by HCF of denominator. So here actually before doing that you have to reduce it. So here this was the trick here. If you don't reduce it, you will get wrong answer. Okay, so after you reduce it, it becomes out as x is 5 by 2 and y is actually for y HCF of two fraction. After reducing it, HCF will be HCF of the numerator by LCM of the denominator. So 5 by 4. So x minus y will become 5 by 4. So the answer is 5 by 4. So moving on to the next question. Question number 13. The LCM of two numbers is 1200, HCF is 45, one number is 600, then find the other number. So this is a very tricky question actually. First of all, you need to know that HCF must be a factor of LCM. For any two numbers, the HCF and LCM, there must be a specific relation. Any two random numbers cannot be HCF and LCM of two numbers. So for the numbers to be HCF and LCM of two numbers, the HCF should be a factor of LCM. But you can see here that 45 is not a factor of 1200. So the two numbers doesn't exist actually. So this is a tricky question. Most of you might remember that formula that HCF into LCM by one number is equal to other number, but that is not correct here. So the incorrect question, option D. Okay, moving on to the next question. Question number 14. If x equal to 7 plus 7 raised to 2 by 3 plus 7 raised to 1 by 3, then find the value of x cube minus 21x square plus 126x minus 43. Okay, this is a simple question actually. It has something to do with algebraic manipulation. Okay, so what we do, we just take 7 to the left hand side and cube it. Okay, so it becomes like this. Okay, so yeah, so instead of this 7 raised to 1 by 3 plus 7 raised to 2 by 3, you can just replace it by x minus 7 here. Okay, so you get 21x in this side. You see that the first two terms are matching our question and the next two terms are not matching. The fourth term obviously is a constant. You can just add and remove whatever you want with the constant. Constant doesn't matter much. The main thing is to just get this exact value of x, exact coefficient of x. So this when the question has been made in such a way that whenever you write this as x minus 7, then you get 21x here, and it exactly cancel out some portion of 147x to make it 126x. Okay, and you get this one as okay. So and also you have to now add 300 to left hand side and right hand side both. So you get 300 plus 56 minus 21 into 7. You get this number. Okay, so that is nothing but 209. So the answer is 209. Moving on to the next question. Question number 15. If a light ray passing through the point A12 in xy coordinate system, after reflecting it goes through the point B95 as shown in the figure, then find the coordinate of point O. So here x-axis is the mirror. We have to take the full advantage of it. We can see that the slope of this line and slope of this line, they are actually same in magnitude but just different in sign. Like this is, if this slope is m here, then this slope is minus m here, because you can see the angle here and the angle here are same. Angles subtended by the line on the x-axis, from the x-axis that angle, and from the x-axis this angle in the anti-clockwise direction, both are same. So the slope of both the lines are opposite, same in magnitude and different in sign. So to take this advantage, so you just equate the slope along with the sign. So you can see x minus 1, the point O is x0, so x minus 1 by 0 minus 2, and you are just giving a minus sign here. So x minus 1 by 2 equal to 9 minus x by 5. And when we try to solve this, we get x equal to 23 by 7. So answer is 23 by 7. Moving on to the next question. Question number 16. In a given figure, if a person at point A wants to go to point B, then find total number of possible ways. So here it's a very traditional permutation and combination problem. So here you can see, also here in the question it is written that the person can go in positive x direction and negative y direction only. So the person has to, in order to reach from A to B, he has to take total 4 horizontal steps and 5 vertical steps in any manner. Like if you go through this path, he has to take like this. If you go through this path, follow any path, there will be total 4 horizontal steps and 5 vertical steps. So here the actual problem now reduces to arranging these 5 vertical steps and 4 horizontal steps into all possible combinations. The total number of arrangement of these 9 steps will be the answer. Okay, so total number of arranging is 9 factorial by 4 factorial into 5 factorial equal to 126. Okay, so 126 is the answer here. Question number 17. Question number 17, if a, b, c are integer and a, b, c greater than equal to 0, I mean they are non-negative integers, find number of all possible sets of a, b, c such that a plus 2b plus 3c equal to 15. It is also a traditional permutation and combination problem. So we take c equal to 0 and we just get that a plus 2b is 15. You can choose b as 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. A will adjust accordingly. Okay. And okay, so there are total 8 ways. You can see 0 to 7, 8 ways. Now take c equal to 1. You get b, a plus 2b is 12. So b is 0 to 6, 7 ways. Like that, keep on moving. C equal to 2. B 0 to 4, 5 ways. C equal to 3, B 0 to 3, 4 ways. Then 2 ways, then 1 way, and it is the last case, C equal to 5. So you just add this up, then you get 27. So the correct answer is 27. Moving on to the next question. Question number 18. A particle is moving in helical path of pitch length 2 meter and radius 3 meter with a constant speed 25 meter per second. Okay, you have to find the component of velocity along the axis of helix. Okay, so this is a helix. You can just move along the spring. It will be a helical path. So the pitch is the distance in z direction when you complete a rotation of 360 degree. Like from this point to this point, this is called the pitch. Okay, and the radius is the usual radius. Okay, so here you can see that this is this middle resultant vector is 25 meter per second, and we have to find this small one, this axial velocity. This is also there. This is a tangential velocity. So this velocity will have two component, axial. This speed will have two component, axial and tangential. Okay, so we are trying to find a ratio between tangential and axial here. So how do you find a ratio here? So you know that when you go from this point to this point, the time for both the axial movement and the tangential movement is same. So the velocity, axial velocity and the tangential velocity are proportional to the axial distance and the tangential distance covered. So the axial distance after 360 degree rotation, it is pitch length. Tangential distance is 2 pi r. So pitch length by 2 pi r is VA by VT. VA means axial velocity and VT is tangential velocity. Okay, and now we just kind of find the resultant in a vector form and just take VA out. The ratio is VT by VA. We replace VT by VA at 3 pi. VA by VT was 1 by 3 pi. So this is 3 pi and it becomes 1 plus 9 pi square. Square root of 1 plus 9 pi square. So VA is 25 by square root of 1 plus 9 pi square. So it is 2.638 meter per second. This is the answer. Question number 19. Question number 19. If 0155 corresponds to 1005, 0445 corresponds to 0715, 0240 corresponds to 0920, then what does 0325 corresponds to? Just this is very simple question. Okay, so you just see here the first two numbers of 0155 and 1005, they both when added make 11. Here also 04 and 07 make 11. Also second last two digit 55 and 5, they make 60. Here also 45 15 make 60. And the next number 0240 and 0920, they also follow the same trend. 02 and 09 make 11, 40 and 20 make 60. So here 03 and 25, if we need to subtract it from 11, it is 08, and we need to subtract 25 from 60. So what will be the value? 35. So the answer is C, 0835. Question number 20. It's a very straightforward question actually. You have to point out the figure which you can draw in a single draw, and single draw means without lifting your pen. So there is a special theory called graph theory, which is used for dealing this kind of problems. Okay, so if you don't know about graph theory, I would suggest you once read about graph theory and then understand this explanation. So according to the graph theory, only those figures which has 0 or 2 odd degree junctions are possible in a single draw. Okay, what do you mean by junctions? First, junction means the point where there are more than 2 branches. Like this is a junction, it has 3 branches, more than 2. This is junction, it has 3 branches, more than 2. Okay, so like this figure has 4 junctions, this figure has 5 junctions, this figure has 8 junctions, like that. Okay, so what do you mean by odd degree junction? Odd degree junction means the number of branches in a junction are odd. So here there are 3 branches, so it is a odd degree junction. So there are 4 odd degree junctions. Here there are 4 odd degree junction and 1 even degree junction. Here again there are 4 odd degree junctions and 4 even degree junctions. Here there are 6 even degree junctions and 2 odd degree junctions. You can just count by yourself. By pausing this video, you can just count by yourself. You will find that thing. Okay, so by this theory, by this statement, you can know that the figure D is the only figure which you can draw in a single draw without lifting your pen. So because it is 2 odd degree junctions. So answer is D. So moving on to question number 21. So this is also a difficult to recognize question. It is based on the last question. Here also, like, you have to choose the figure actually which you cannot draw in a single draw. Okay, actually that is the pattern here, the question pattern. So you can see that similarly here A has 4 odd degree junctions, so this cannot be drawn in a single draw. B has 2 odd degree junctions, so it can be drawn in a single draw. C has 0 odd degree junction and D has 2 odd degree junction, so it can be drawn in a single draw. Okay, so figure A is not possible, so it is an odd one out. Question number 22, find the missing number. So again it is a very easy question. Just see that the 4th column is 3rd column minus 2nd column. 7 minus 2 you have 5, 11 minus 3 you have 8, 15 minus 4 you have 11, and thus 26 minus 7 will be 19. So C is the correct option. Okay. So again question number 23. You want to open a lock and you don't know where is the key. You have a letter in which the large number and some words are given, is given below. It is okay. So actually you have to decode this message. You are given this 2 information, code and this sentence. So again this is very easy question. You have to just check that the number of words 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 is equal to the number of numbers here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. That means each number is something to do with each word. So the first natural thing that comes to mind is that it might be that it is the number of the letter from starting of the word. That means, say here, like 4 means workshop, the 4th letter is K, the 4th letter is E, the 4th letter is Y, and just to join these things you will find that key is in the box. So the option B is correct answer. Moving on to the next question. Question number 24 is again a pattern. You have to find the next number in this series 1, 5, 15, 35, 70, 126. What is the next number? Okay, so just see that 1 is nothing but 4C4, 5 is nothing but 5C4, 15 is nothing but 6C4, like that 7C4 35, 8C4 70, 9C4 126, so this 10C4 is 210, which makes the answer option D as the answer. Okay, next question. Question number 25. We have to consider this equation and basically select the incorrect option. That means we have to solve this equation actually. Okay, so let's start. Okay, so we are considering this 4x cube plus 6x square minus 1 as fx. So x tends to minus infinity, f of x is minus infinity. X tends to infinity, f of x is infinity. These two information will be useful while plotting graph, as x is at the right end of the positive x-axis, fx will be infinity. At the left end of the negative x-axis, the fx will go to minus infinity. These two information will come to use there. F of 0 I am simply finding out because there is an option here stating minus 1 and 0. So let's find out f of 0 and f of minus 1. They both turn out to be minus 1 and 1 respectively. Now let's draw the graph. So this is a cubic equation graph. You can see that as x tends to infinity, the fx is going to infinity, x tends to minus infinity, fx is going to minus infinity. So there is some point here where there is minus 1. I am not sure, this graph is not exact. So there is some point here which is minus 1, because at minus 1 we are taking one value. That means it has to cross this x-axis somewhere before minus 1, and it is to cross again the x-axis somewhere after minus 1. And also the another information is there, f of 0 is minus 1. That means f of 0 is negative. That means between minus and 1 and 0 it has to cross x-axis again, and after some point again it will cross x-axis, because at x tends to infinity the fx value is going to be infinity. So from these four options, the option A, 2 roots are negative is correct and 1 root positive correct. 1 root lies between minus 1 0 is correct. Only 1 root is real is incorrect. So option C is the correct answer. Next question. Question number 26. In a right angle triangle, sides x equal to 3 cm, y equal to 4 cm, z equal to 5 cm. If x starts increasing with a rate 2 cm per second, and find the initial decreasing rate of y, assuming z remains constant and angle between side x and y remains 90 degree. Okay, so let's see the right angle triangle. So you just mark the sides x, y and z. So it is written that x starts increasing with 2 cm per second. It's told us to find what is the rate of decrease of y. So it is asking us this one, what is the rate of decrease of y. Okay, so and z is constant here. So for the right angle triangle, the equation Pythagoras theorem, x square plus y square equal to z square. So we are kind of differentiating this equation, 2x dx by dt plus 2y dy by dt equal to 0. Since z is a constant, the differentiation will be 0, and the normal differentiation for x and y. Why we are differentiating it is to find the rate of change of variable x and y. So the dy by dt comes out to be minus x by y dx by dt at that point x equal to 3 and y equal to 4. So it is 1.5 centimeter per second. So 1.5 centimeter per second is the correct answer. Question number 27. If a person of height 3 meter wants to see his body in a mirror, find the minimum height of mirror so that he can see his whole body from bottom to top in the mirror. Okay, so here is a person. So this dotted dashed line is a mirror, and the person wants to see his body from top to bottom. So assume that his eyes are in the head. So kind of that you can just assume, since this height from eyes to hair is not given, you can assume that way. Okay, and just mark the point A, B, C, D and A dash B dash. Okay, just you can just see that this triangle ACD and A dash B dash are similar triangles. Okay, and also the length of AC is D and A dash C is also D. Since this is a mirror, so the object distance and image distance will be same, plane mirror. Okay, and written here ACD and A dash B dash is same, similar triangle. So CD by A dash B dash equal to AC by A dash, CD by A dash B dash equal to AC by A dash. So that will be CD is AC by A dash is nothing but 1 by 2. So CD is A dash B dash, it is 3 meter by 2, 1.5 meter. So answer is 1.5 meter. So CD should be at least 1.5 meter so that he can see his whole body. Next question. Question number 28. A person standing in front of a mirror and mirror is moving with a speed of 7 meter per second away from the person. Person is also moving with a speed of 5 meter per second towards the mirror. Then find the speed of his image in mirror with respect to ground. Okay, so this is a person again, the same person. Okay, and this is the mirror, this is his image. So the person is moving at 5 meter per second and mirror is moving at 7 meter per second. So we have to find the speed of this image. Okay, so let's solve it from the object's point of view. So from the object's point of view, he is himself constant, standing still, and this mirror is moving at 2 meter per second, and thus the person, the image, it will move at 4 meter per second. Why? Because the distance is d and the distance of mirror from the object is d, distance of image from the object will be 2d. So if d by dt, like differentiation of d with respect to time is 2 meter per second, then differentiation of 2d with respect to time will be 2 into 2, that will be 4 meter per second. So this image is moving at 4 meter per second with respect to the object, and thus the actual velocity of the image is 4 plus 5 is 9 meter per second in the direction that is shown. Okay, so the option C is the correct answer, 9 meter per second in the direction of mirror's velocity. Question number 29 is a really easy question. You can see that there is a repetition and then subtraction by 3, that pattern. Okay, repeat and subtract 3. You can see 20 minus 3 is 17, 17 minus 3 14, 14 minus 3 11, 11 minus 3 will be 8. So the pattern is 20 20, 17 17, 14 14, 11 11, 8 8, like that. So the next two numbers will be 11 8. Question number 30. Follow the pattern and determine the correct position of the minute hand in watch D. The position of the hour hand is given. Okay, and also there is some written statement here that assuming that minute hand is always pointing towards an integer and it cannot point between two integers. Okay, so you have to find out the position of the minute hand of the figure D based on the three other figures A, B and C. Okay, so let's start with figure A. So figure A, there it is 155 on the clock, just add 155, it is 11. Figure B again 245 on the clock, just add 245, it is 11. Figure C 650 in the clock and just add 650, it's 11. In figure D it's 7 and something on the clock, so what will be that something to make it 11? So the sum of the digit of the minute hand should be 4, like it can be 13, it can be 4, it can be 22, it can be 31, it can be 40, but it should be integer only. It is written here. Okay, so by that logic all the options get eliminated except 40. So 40 means it is pointing at 8. So C is the correct option. So we have reached the end of our solution video. I hope you all liked the video. I have tried to keep it very precise and clear. In case of any queries or doubt, please feel free to comment below or contact us on Instagram or mail us. We will be answering all your mails. Also to press the bell icon in order to receive notifications for more such videos related to quizzes or Olympiad. Thank you and stay safe.